Welcome back, you guys. What's going on, everybody? Oh, we got a bunch. We got a bunch of people up in the live. I see you guys. I see you guys. What up, Steve? What up, O Dog? Jay Beats and Ways. Paul Van Team. Ethan. Appreciate you guys. And Tina, I appreciate you guys for jumping on in here and kicking it with me tonight. So let's see. How's my mic? How is everything coming through? And I'm gonna be honest. Be honest with you guys tonight. Let me get my microphone. There we go. Now I can actually see. I see I'm good. I know I'm good. All right, cool. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm about to body this show. I actually had a little time to prepare. I thought about how I wanted to do this, and I really think that we're going to make an impact. So let's say you're struggling with the fade, you're struggling with the blend. We're going to cover all that stuff. We're going to cover exactly why, how, and all that along the way. And before I get to your questions, which I hope you do ask some questions if you feel like you're struggling with anything. Before I get to those questions, let me lay out my case. Now, I know some people are going to come late, and that's fine, and I'll repeat myself a little bit later. But I want this to be like a rock-solid live that you can watch over again. And, that's it. So what do you mean my channel is cracked? I don't understand that. But, yeah, so I don't know if we're going to have time for critiques, but if I do, we will. We will, for sure. So, all right. You guys ready? Let's begin. Let's begin. So I got an overlay here somewhere, and I want you guys to see it. This is the most commonly asked questions on my channel, and I just want to rock through these real quick. How do I remove the skin line? We're going to talk to that. We're going to talk about that, and what I meant by how do I remove the skin line, I think most people are saying, how do I remove a harsh skin line? I still struggle to remove a harsh skin line, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that tonight, really detailed, okay? Why do you zero gap your clippers? I'm going to get into that in just a second, too. Okay, so it means your channel cracked means your channel's like crazy good. Thank you. I thought you meant like somebody hacked me, man. I actually I did a Twitch. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the zero gap. That's actually where I'm gonna start the show here. Why does it take me so long to do the haircut? Probably because you're traveling over the same areas over and over again without making any hair come off. You're not cutting any actual hair because. Let's put it this way. If we're struggling to make a change in our haircut, there's really only one thing we can do is to cut more hair. So there's probably a good chance you need to make a guard change, make a lever change, whatever, and get yourself down. What do barbers mean when they say they're using the corners to blend? And how do I minimize my cleanup? These are kind of going to go hand in hand because when we do some cleanup, that means we're sort of probably breaking some of the rules that we set for ourselves, so we're stepping outside of the boundaries of the process that we've established. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about some more today. But one of the biggest ways, just off the top, to tell you how do you minimize your cleanup, it's going to be very thorough in the way that you work. And make sure that your step 1 is done before you're on step 2 or step 3. Just make sure that you guys have completed those steps. Because if you decide that you're going to return to a step, even that little decision to say I can come back to it, I'll just keep going. Well, it's going to be easier for you to take care of that now. Because let's say that you're on that half open, half closed step, and you notice that a part of the blend that you did the electric shaver in is bad. When you're done with the whole cut, you might think, oh, Maybe I can fix that with something else, and you're just going to waste a bunch of time. If you just do it right then and there when you see it, it's going to be easier because you're going to just return one step. You might get confused when you're on step 5 that, oh, God, I got to go back to step 1. How about if you notice a mistake when you're on step 2, go back to step 1. Makes it so much easier, and, that's one of the other things here. Am I too old to learn? Obviously not. And one of the reasons why and one of the things I want to say to encourage anybody who feels like they might be getting a little long in the tooth for the old barber business, I'm going to tell you right now, just because you are choosing to learn how to cut hair now doesn't really make any difference. And in some ways, it's going to still put you further ahead than people who are doing this at a younger age. And I'm going to tell you why. The only people who are going to know you're new are the people who you tell, okay? And your other life experiences, they're not going to just disappear and not be present with you. You are still going to have that wisdom that a younger barber won't have. So some for instances in that situation would be, okay, I understand that in order for me to build my business, I need to create a nice environment that people feel welcome, people feel comfortable, people want to spend time with me and be in my chair. I want to be nice to them. I want to treat them like they're my son or like they're my family member, and I want to make sure that I go above and beyond for them. And if they see that, there's no way that you're ever going to lose that client. Now, this is something that people who are a little bit older really start to view and position themselves around. It's like, I see clearly how to build my business, and it just continues to grow and become more robust now. I used to think I knew everything, and I would close my ears to any new information because I knew everything, and I would struggle. But as I got a little bit older, it's easy for me to almost make fun of myself and make fun of that person that I was and just say, you know, this being a little bit older is definitely going to help you. It's going to help you to grow faster than some of these young guys because it's just easy for people to get a little bit of knowledge under their belt and think they know it all. All right, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to spend all day on that one, but it's one of the ones that bothers me because I really think it's just maybe, you know, some people are wondering if they're too old, if they're wasting their time or stuff like that. And I really think it's unfair to you to put a limitation like that on yourself because cutting hair is not something that you can't learn. Everybody can learn. Everybody can get good at this. There's no special thing that happened to me at birth that made me able to do this. I just practiced and I didn't give up. That's the secret. There is no great like, oh God, these barbers, they study with monks and they go to like some high up place in the Alps and they like learn and do this weird jiu-jitsu. No. None of that's true. It's all trash. There's people who are going to pick it up quick. There's people who it's going to take longer. But at the end of the day, we can all build a nice clientele and make a nice dollar. So let's go back. That's what's up, Taryn. I'm super happy to hear 48 in barber school. And it's absolutely awesome that you're taking that because you know what? Give a shout out to Terrence because it takes a lot of courage to leave those things that provided you comfort in life and go into the uncertainty, but sometimes it can feel like you're taking 1 or 2 steps, you know, backwards, but eventually you'll be taking 3 or 4 steps forward and there ain't going to be no looking back. So let's start in on the number one reason why you might struggle with that harsh line. So we're gonna get down to business on this right now. All right. So some of you guys have heard this before, and I only have one electric shaver with me. I got my little Uno. We're gonna talk about this in a second here, and I'm not trying to make this like a serious brand pitch or anything. It just all I'm saying is you have to have your equipment set up properly. All right. That's the end all be all. Got to have your equipment set up properly. Okay, so if I was going to begin a skin fade, which I actually have one right here to drop in, bing. Okay, and we are going to mute this. I hope you guys can hear me. I think we're good. All right, so I'm going to do a skin fade on this guy, and I'm going to put that in with the trimmers, right? I got the trimmers going. I'm going to put that in. Now, I want to make sure my trimmers can cut as close as possible. This is just a junk pair of trimmers that doesn't even work that I had laying in a drawer because I brought my gammas to work. But the idea is I need these trimmers to cut as close as possible to my electric shaver because my follow-up step is going to be the electric shaver behind the trimmer. All right? So if that's the case, then these two machines, they need to cut as close as possible to each other so that you don't have struggle to blend. So this is why we're going to go ahead. We're going to make our clipper zero gap. I'm not going to get into it too much, but essentially we're just going to loosen the top blade and slide the moving blade in the top blade as close together as possible, but you certainly don't want the bottom blade overlapping the top blade. I already got a thumbs down. I feel like I'm already on point here. Got some thumbs down, but the rest of y'all can just a couple thumbs up, man. It helps because this channel it just sucks. Like flat out, I'm gonna say it. My channel, the way the algorithms, whatever's happening, it's just a disappointment to me. And you guys know I was having a little pity party last week about it, but it is what it is. All right, so we want these two to be functioning as close together as possible, right? And then the next step is going to be using a clipper. And the clipper in the closed position with this lever all the way closed, we need to make sure that that is as close as we can get it to the trimmer. Now, all our stuff is set up properly. So you're going to be able to balance, you're going to be able to bounce right from your electric shaver to your trimmer to your open taper, okay? So if I go back to this, let's see if it resumes. Resuming my settings. Okay, so here we are knocking out that bulk. I'm just trying to remove it. And again, I don't recommend doing this with a trimmer. If you don't have to, I don't recommend doing this with a trimmer at all. Use your detachable. Use something that actually works. Now, this is the exact motion. I switched clients here, but this is the exact motion, and we're going to come up against the grain. I'm only using one of the blades on the Braun Series 9, and I'm just lifting up and flicking away. You want to make sure this is perfect before you move on. There's my Prodigies. That's the ones that I'm rocking with all the time. And at the bottom, you can press as close as you want, and you can just knock that out. Okay. So let's go over to board number 2. Boom. And let's talk about the blend for a minute, because I got a feeling that you guys are not going to have as many questions as you might think you have if you just watch and let me kind of get this out. So we just did our, I'll put a skin. We just did the electric shaver. And our first line we put in with a 5-0. So I'm just going to, this line is going to mean it's a 5-0. So with the skin machine, we came close as we could get to the line, but we began flicking away. Now, this is that thing that we talked about earlier in this video when I said don't be on step 2 before you're done with step 1. So we're going to call this portion of the blend, we're going to say this is like the first sort of difficult thing you've done. Up to this point, you've just debulked and you've just put in a skin line. And just so you guys know, those of you who are keeping up with the channel, we are on to phase 4. All right, just a quick recap. Phase 1 is debulking. Phase 2 is clipper over comb, shear over comb. Phase 3 is cutting the top with shears if that's the case. And phase 3 can be interchanged with phase 1 if your client comes in like me and I want a 1.5 on top, skin on the sides. Well, the debulking process will include the 1.5. But now we're on to phase 4, which is the blend. We get really specific on all of these, and I hope you guys stick around and join us on some future lives if you're struggling with anything related to barbering. So as we move up into the skin line, do many of you guys have trouble with this area? Just let me know. I'm kind of looking at the comments. The Magic Clips, good clipper, waste of money. We're a big fan of Gamma here, and if you guys want to support the channel in any way you like what we're doing, use code Eddie. You'll get 10% off Gamma. You can also use my code at 614 Barber Supply if you want to buy anything else, and it also works for Stylecraft and Shear Police, which I don't know what the hell I did with that, but it's there. But thanks to my sponsors, they make this all possible. They keep it popping. All right, next step. We don't move on, so we're done with this step, but we're done with this step, and I'm going to move on. And for a moment, I'm going to flip back to the video for a second. Boom. Hopefully it picks up right where I left off. I don't really like how this automatically mutes me. I'm going to speed this up, and let's actually back up a little bit. Backing it up, back it up, back it up. Okay. So here's the process that we're talking about. I put the clipper in the open position, and I'm going to create a line. Now, this is something about stretching the fade, stretching the blend. This is something that you're going to need to, I'm going to want to talk about for a second. All right. You can pretty much use the width of your finger. I made this much bigger because I need to make some room here to show you. But you can make this the width of your finger. You can make it the width of 2 fingers. Whatever you choose to do, it's kind of cool if you do decide to use your finger, or you could use maybe a comb or something. But make sure that you're consistent on both sides of the head and work these steps all the way around the head because it's just so easy to knock out one side, make it perfect. And then when you go to the other side, you make it perfect and there's no lines, but you have the fade higher on one side than the other because you started wrong to begin with. So let's stick with these fundamentals, which is also going to help you cut down on the time, which we also talked about in the beginning. Why does it take me so long to do a haircut? Probably because you're repeating steps or you're making mistakes. So we begin by putting the open taper position line in, maintaining this width all the way around the head. And now if you're using the gamma or anything with a click, this is just an absolute alpha. And I'm going to put this in the open position, right, for this line. And then when I'm ready to start getting this line out, I'm actually going to attack it from the top to the bottom. It's my favorite way to teach somebody new. So I'm going to click it one time, and these clicks are very responsive. You can hear them. All right, so I'm going to click it one time, and I'm only going to go up just below where I was in my previous step. I'm not trying to go up too high. And I'm going to be using a crisscross pattern. And the other main mistake that I see people making quite a bit is they're leaving the head too much because they heard they should be flicking out. They heard they should be doing all this stuff. The flicking motion continues on the scalp, and you need to hold this flat. It can't be arced up. It can't be arced over because you're manipulating the distance that the manufacturer intended. It stays on the scalp, and it works very much like you would use an eraser to erase pencil that you drew on something. So you're just going up and down. Because let's face it, if this clipper's up against his head and it's moving this way, it's not going to cut nothing. There's no reason to lift it up. The only thing that's going to happen when you lift it up is you're going to bang it off the client's head, causing discomfort, messing up your haircut, and making you take longer. So keep it on the head, keep it flat, work it back and forth, and no, you don't need to be using the C motion all the time. No, you don't need to be some expert with the wrist, and no, you don't got to be a monk who goes up to the top of the mountains. All you got to do is follow the process because the manufacturers of these clippers or any clippers, they've already figured out exactly how to give you the perfect amount of distance to cause the perfect blend, which if I just drew the other quick diagram, all a blend is it's coming from short and it's going to long. And when you have issues in your blend, it might look something like this. All jacked up, where you have multiple lengths going on here and you're able to see those lines. All right? So if you are executing properly, following the right process, your blend is going to gently, smoothly create a gradient away from the head. All right? So here's my steps. Let's get back to this for a second. Bam, open, one click down, staying in this area, holding it flat, exercising that crisscross pattern, using it like an eraser. And again, click it one more time, and let's go down to here. Bam, we're doing the exact same steps. We're going to continue this all the way down till we're on our last click, and we're just running over that 5-0 line that we initially made with the trimmer. And once we do that, you're going to see this whole thing disappear. And what you should see is from skin to the open taper, I'll put OT. From skin to the open taper, there's no line. And it's smooth. And if it's not smooth, we're going to return a step. And the step that we're most likely to have to return to is right here, and it's in this time. So let's say that you did everything right, everything looks good, but you just have a little bit of that 5-0 line. I still see a little residual. Perfect time to pick up your trimmer and go back in there. I like to use this in an upward position because it cuts less hair. But if you have to, you can even use this in a downward position, and you can use a technique called raking, which I'm not a big fan of, and I don't ever really find the need to do this too much myself. It's also possible that if that doesn't do it, you might have to return to your electric shaver. And honestly, Gamma has created the perfect machine for that, is this little single foil shaver. I've really fell in love with this. I'm almost like, how did I cut hair without this? I use this on every single haircut now. But if I have a little issue in here, it's just so easy to just knock these out, tapping it down, making it down, making it happen, making it clean, and we're good to go. All right. So that's about that for that part of the fade. Let's get down to business. I'll flip back over to the video, and we'll keep on rolling. So here we are. I'm executing what we're talking about. I'm executing that one little step at a time. I have it in the open position. As you see, I'm doing my best to use that crisscross method because it's going to feed that into the hair easily. All right, so let's see what Steve Savin said. When you go open to close, do you use the full blade every click or corner only with the last notch? I try to use the full blade. I want to get it done as fast as possible. I want to cut as much hair as possible, but at the same time, if I'm really struggling to get that in, you can also just apply more pressure into the scalp. Sometimes that works because the scalp is sort of like a sponge. You know, it sort of can take. It's got a little give and take to it. So sometimes you can push. When I am using the corners, which I'm thankful that you asked that. So thank you for your question. Let's go back to this camera. Okay, when I'm using the corners, it's usually because I'm taking a calculated risk into an area that I've already previously traveled. So let's say I'm on the same step that we talked about with the open taper. Let's say that I'm done with the haircut, right? And I notice there's an issue like around that area where the open taper was. I'm going to use that corner, and by using that corner, that means that I'm actually texturizing, which means to remove bulk without affecting length. So it's a perfect way to cut down on a shadow, or maybe reduce a very small line or a small inconsistency. But I'm not using the corners to take giant swaths. I'm actually holding the entire blade flat, and again, I'm using it like an eraser. So now best method. All right, I like this because Neiman, I think he's already like, all right, I got this whole thing figured out, man. How do I get above the number 2? Good question, and you guys know the answer. Those of you guys who've been in here for a while, you know that I like to do this with clipper over comb. I like to use clipper over comb whenever I'm going over that number 2. And, you know, we're not going to talk about that tonight, but that's the whole name of the game. So I pretty much just take it and I just departmentalize it. So the way I view this is a number 2 and above, we're going to blend that with clipper over comb most of the time. I'm going to be able to do that, and that's a whole separate other technique. Now, when I teach the blend, I'm only talking about coming from skin into a number 2, which is dope because it means that we're only having to focus and learn and understand a very small portion of it. So we're rocking and we're rolling, and we're gonna keep it moving. Let's go back to the video and unmute. I gotta change that setting for this. So all right, so here we are. I'm still finishing up that step that we talked about on the board, and it's looking pretty good. Now, here's that perfect example of when you feel like, okay, I see something wrong a little bit. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna get that. Cuddy, I want to answer you real quick. I've never had any issue with color combs snagging personally. I'm not sure if you're talking about when they're attached to a clipper, an inferior clipper or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But most clippers, if they're set up properly, you're going to be able to do this with. All right. So normally I will go to the number 1 in this step, but because this client, his hair was a little bit longer, and I struggled on this side. I actually slowed down the side that I struggled on just to show you guys how I would work through this. Now, I didn't want to take a clipper guard like a number 1 right into there because I wanted to be able to continue that stretch. I wanted to keep stretching that blend. I really appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. I use a razor to do wedge, then blend in, but have trouble getting rid of the line. I know what you're saying. I would probably avoid using the razor to do the bottom portion of the blend because it's just going to be harsher on the client. It's going to take you more time, and having an electric shaver is certainly going to speed up the process and make it a little bit easier. I really appreciate you, Ethan, man. Thank you for popping in, man. I appreciate that, buddy. All right, so we're rocking and rolling, and now I have the number 1 on. Let's stop the video. Let's go back to the Steve, man. I appreciate that, buddy. Bing. All right, man. So you guys are donating. I appreciate it. This twice as many donations as I've had in the last like 3 or 4 what do you call it, videos. So, or live feeds. But I promise to get you guys an upload soon too. I just had a crazy week. All right. So, here we go. We're in the open taper phase, and this is something I probably should have put on that list of stuff that I said goes wrong. But the next step up would actually be the half, but we're going to skip the half, and we're going to go to a number 1 open. And I'm just going to put a 1 with an O. That's not 10. But we're going to a 1 open, and the reason why we're going to go to a 1 open is very simple, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So here's my number 1 guard, right? And the number 1 in the closed position cuts the hair shorter, actually, by a very small amount than the open guard, than the half guard in the open position. All right? And what that means is there's a little bit of overlap in between this step. And what that also means is usually what happens is most of your line disappears. And now you're great from skin to a 1 open, except for usually there's a little bit of residual. And that's where the half guard comes in. Thank you, Uproar. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys so much, man. Thank you. So that's where the half guard comes in. We got a little bit of residual. The half guard is not meant to move mountains. It's not meant to be no big time guard. It's never on for too long. But this can make or break your cuts in the open position, as well as always how I start. If it's not cutting anything, I click it down immediately. If it's not cutting anything, I click it down immediately. This is a cautionary step that takes me 2 seconds to execute and allows me to do this without making a mistake. And if I get all the way down and this doesn't get off the issue, this is why it's so important to just be thorough and finish your steps. If I get all the way down to closed with this guard on and this still don't go away, I know exactly what to do. I open this up, I put this in the open position, and I repeat my steps just 1 step below. So understanding how to blend really isn't that hard, as long as you understand what guard comes after what, which guards border each other, and what opening and closing this does. And just for anybody who might be really new, when this is in the open position, it's leaving the hair longer. When it's in the closed position, it cuts the hair closer. So it's cutting closer. So that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly why we skip the half guard, and we are going to be better off in the long. So moving on through, look at the damage that I'm actually able to do on this haircut with just the number 1, skipping the half guard. I mean, shoot, at some of these ratchet barbershops, this would be a good fade. It'd be done by now. They just throw this guy right out. Never mind doing the other side. You take your IG pictures from this side. I appreciate you, Steve. Right on, man. Thank you, Steve Nugent. Pair character punch in the air with fist bump written on the knuckles. Oh. I wonder why it says it like that. I actually do see his guy. So now you can see I'm coming in with my residual. I don't care. I know that blends a little rough up top. I'm not worried about that. That's what's great about departmentalizing. I don't have to think about that. I don't have to worry about that. I don't even have to care about that. I just go through my process. I work on the area I'm working on, and then I move up, and you know, it's all good from there. So if this doesn't come out, or if what I'm looking at doesn't come out, I'm going to just return to the open taper. Now, I don't know why I chose to use a little clipper over comb here to meet this blend, because if you guys remember, I went in with the 1 1/2. I did that open, I did that close, so I should be fairly happy. And everything I'm doing is smooth. But this is one of the other things that we'll talk about in the other phase when I'm going to do some shear over comb. See, I really didn't know how his hair was going to react, so I actually didn't take the number 2 and go right in there. But if you just caution yourself, you take baby steps and you move into it, you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to get a good blend. So that's the reason why I kind of did a little bit of this tomfoolery, because his hair's a little light on that one side. He's got that curl that was killing me that day. You might sleep on that side, and going through with some shear over comb, clipper over comb, and texturizing shears, which we're going to get to in just a minute. So let me go back to my main cam, Bing, and let's get some of these questions. What guards do you think work best with the ergos and alphas? You know, I got to be honest. I never really gave Gamma a chance with their guards because I just love color guards so much. So personally, I love to look down on my station and see the purple means number 2. You get to know these so well. I just like the color guard system, and I want to just like look, know exactly what I'm doing, bing, grab it, go, and I'm good to go. So usually I just use these, and these work fine, and they work great with both the ergos and the alpha, and you're never going to have an issue. So Dominic S. Hey guys, I got the wall magic clips with the wall premium guards. Do I need to purchase the extra 5 and 1.5? No. If you want, okay, I see what he's saying. They come with a half guard that looks like this, and they usually come with a 1 1/2 guard that looks like this. This is the ratchet ones that normally come with most wall clippers. And if you want to upgrade them, they have a premium one that is a little bit nicer, and you know, it's like $3. So if you want to do the upgrade, do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt nothing. So all right, let's talk about troubleshooting your haircut now, because we just knocked out the blunt. We just knocked out the whole blend. We're good to go, and we got it. We got the fade all smooth on this side, and I'm actually going to speed up until I get to this part right here where I'm finishing off just this last little bit that was bothering me. I think this is all moving super fast when I'm doing the shear over comb. Now right here is where I'm sort of checking and I'm looking for any issues, and I still wasn't in love with the way this side was looking, and this is like my troubleshooting phase of the haircut. I ran through here with some more clipper shear over comb, and I'm going to try to get this to lay and blend smooth. I really didn't run into issues where I needed the texturizing. Are we back on? Oh, we're back in business here. All right. I'm sorry, you guys. The internet got messed up, but we're back in business here, and I want to thank Dominic. It actually didn't buffer. In all honesty, it died altogether, and it completely stopped on my end. And I hope some of my language that I used did not make it into the final stream. But well, we'll have to figure that out. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. So we should be back in business here. We're good to go. I don't know why, but like when I play that video, there's no reason for it to actually slow down. So let's get back to talking about those texturizing shears for a second. I'll use the texturizing shears. Let me see if I have a video just sitting here that I use the texturizing shears in a little bit. I think I do. Let me look at. Okay, unmuted. And let's see if I use the texturizing shears in this cut. I think I may have. I'm just trying to show you guys an example of when I used them. Maybe towards the back of this taper. Did I use them here? I know I used them on him. I'm not sure if they're in here. But so anyways, when you get right down to it, if you're struggling with any curl, if you see any dark spots, if you've done everything that you can do with your clipper, and you still have a little bit of an issue, so a pair of texturizing shears can really help you to get that blend looking super smooth. And oh yeah, there we go. So this is a perfect example of when I use them. Sometimes I'll use them completely without even using the comb. I'll actually just put them right down onto the scalp, chomp, and just like that. So that would be free shear point tapering or freehand texturizing shear, using them sort of like that. And I see somebody put the 357 Magnums 3.0. I don't know anything about their newest version, but the last one was really an issue. It couldn't zero gap it. It gave me a lot of trouble, and it didn't really cut all that great. So I wouldn't recommend them. And you know, if you're in the market, I think that the the Gamma Alphas, I think they don't. I think they blow them out of the water. I don't think they're even in the same. No colorful language. We missed that. Good, good. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. So yeah, I don't think that they're even in competition with one another. They try to, but Gamma's really doing a fantastic job of listening to their barbers, and they kill their customer service. They kill it with that. Like anybody who has ever had one issue calls Gamma and gets it straightened out. So let's I just wanted to show you that. I don't know why I still have that playing. But all right, so let's get to some of your questions because I feel like I've made an airtight case. I feel like some of you guys might have something to try. Do you use your scissors when you get little dark blotches or the skin, a number one, or do you use your clippers? Around a number one, you can certainly use shears if you have a texturizing shear. If you have a longer shear and you do shear over comb, you can certainly use that. And I shouldn't say that I always do that, but I tend to do it in areas that are problematic. So an area that's problematic is the area behind the ear. Usually in this area, there's going to be a little dip in the head. It's just the way the head is shaped. Really skinny people might have some areas that are just really sucked in, and that creates shadows. Like the way the light hits that creates a shadow, and sometimes you can get in there and you can thin out the middle a little bit. So it's really a case-by-case kind of thing. But probably one of the other and most important factors that I did not mention yet is lighting. You can do all the stuff that we just talked about. You can understand this thoroughly, back and forward, know your process. But if you are cutting hair in an area of your shop that's dark, or you're not using the light that is in your shop to your advantage, you will not be able to perform great haircuts. The moment your client walks out into the street or walks out into the sunlight, you're going to see all kinds of issues with the cut, all kinds of issues. So the only way that you can actually prevent that from happening is by having your own good light source right on your station if need be, or using that good light source. So if my sun's coming in from this side, I'm going to stand right there and I'm going to work from that side, and I'm just going to spin the client and I'm going to keep using that. One of my favorite lights that I've talked about in many videos, I have no connection to this company whatsoever. I just think they make a damn good light. This is the RGB Pixel G1. This thing can actually run for 8 hours on a charge, but it also takes a USB-C like charger. So you can actually just plug this in, and you can actually screw it onto a regular tripod, put it right on a station, and it'll just blast light on your client. So just to give you an idea, I have a cool light on here because I wanted to like show the clippers off. But if I put this light on here, I mean, this is going to show you everything. And another thing, you can take really tricky pictures with this. You could take this down low. You can hold it like down low, and you can make your blend look even more blurry because you're making it look a little bit brighter towards the bottom versus the top. You're getting a little bit more contrast there. And if you get to the point where you want to start making cool videos or do something cool, you can have at it. It can sit there and it can do all these different colors too. All right. So he asked me what angle are you holding your clippers? And Mario, you're right. It is 4 hours. The Gamma's got a hell of a good charger. What angle are you holding your clipper, your comb for blending work? I assume he's talking about with the shear over comb and the clipper over comb, but generally we're using a practice called rolling the comb out. So like it wouldn't be accurate for me to tell you like an exact angle is always appropriate, but generally if you're always at least tipping it away from the head as you work up, and we will cover that when we go over phase 2. We're going to cover both clipper over comb and shear over comb real thoroughly. We'll cover both of those. So, it's just when you cut hair at home, though, and when you cut hair at the shop or when you cut hair wherever, I love this light because I can just bring it with me. So if this light's like $120, and it's worth every penny. It's in the link in the description. Whenever I do home cuts, bet I'm running after them a week later with the shears. She's right. She's right. Like someday, someone from the Buffalo Bills is going to let me cut their hair. I feel it. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I want to cut a Bills player hair so bad. And when that day comes, I will be so prepared. I will come with my light that can cast light beautifully in a hotel room for 8 hours straight if it takes me this damn long to cut the hair. I'll cut the whole freaking team with one single charge. But if that ever happens and I wind up cutting hair in a hotel room and, I can bring my light, I can set that up, and I can know that when I get wherever I'm going, it doesn't matter if they have good light there or not. I can do a good haircut anyways. Some people like using the headlamps. Personally, I don't. I think that it's just hard for me to monitor how much light is being just directed. And if you are making it too bright, that's not good either, because all you're seeing is like this white light. You might not even see the mistakes. So, that's what I'm thinking here. Steve, you already, I love when people say stuff about Josh Allen, because the rest of the world is starting to wake up and they're starting to recognize that Josh Allen's pretty dang good. And Brian Daboll is being considered for a head coaching job by other teams. And I got a theory that Josh Allen's the one making him look good, not the other way around. I don't see it that way at all. I think Brian Daboll falls flat if he goes somewhere away from Josh Allen. Just to throwing that out there. But and this is a great question as well. All right, there is an exception that I make when I'm cutting really tight, curly, textured hair like the one in the previous video. So if I go back to the last video. The only thing that changes is that move right there. Sorry, it muted me. I was talking. The only thing that changes is that move with the grain. I make a couple moves with the grain on really tight hair that's tight and curly hair, black hair, whatever. White hair, you can generally go against the grain, and you're never really going to use many strokes with the grain. Now, black hair or hair that's curly, when you go with the grain, it's going to take less hair. So let's say I'm working my steps just like that, and I decide I'm going to go my number one open. I might take the number one open and come down with the grain and just see what effect that has. If that gets me where I'm going, I like what I'm seeing, I might go all the way closed and continue with the grain. And then if I like what I'm seeing, I might be able to just go up against the grain afterwards and back into my same process. It's sort of like something I'll do to try to lay down that curl, try to relax that curl, and try to make it look good, because the difference between cutting some really curly hair and cutting some hair that is straight hair is going to show you every single mistake. Now, curly hair, on the other hand, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to look visually pleasing. So you don't actually have all the hair like laying and being cut absolutely perfect in curly hair, because when it curls back, it's just going to do whatever it wants. So the best thing is we are going to cut it for how it lays, rather than attempting to make it super even or whatever, the way we would do with straight hair. And a lot of people have a lot of trouble with straight hair just because of the fact that it just shows every little mistake that you make, and you can't really hide from it. And once you make that mistake, the only thing you do is cut the hair a little bit shorter. So let's talk about that for a second. Now, time-saving techniques. When we're cutting the hair and we're taking a lot of time, there's usually some good reasons for it. Where our process is poor, we're not being thorough, we're skipping steps, and we're creating a lot of unnecessary cleanup for ourselves. So if we just move, are you serious? There's no sound all this time? Oh God, please tell me I just did all that talking. No, I got sound, I can see it. But yeah, so we're being thorough, and we're making sure that we move through our steps. That's the most important thing that's going to save you the most amount of time. All right? You guys give me a comment. Let me make sure I do got sound. I don't want to – maybe he turned his mic down a little bit. I don't know. So let's see. I remember when you used the half attack. Now I switched to the one open close. When I slap the 0 on, what notch do I use to blend the open taper? I would say – go with it open. Whenever you're changing guards and you're not sure. Oh, okay, I see uproar. Thank you. Whenever you're changing guards and you're not sure, if you're going to step down, I would always begin in the open position as just a matter of just habit. begin in an open position, and then you can just go ahead and you can begin gradually closing it. So, yeah, that's one of the things. The other thing that people spend a lot of time with that I've noticed was when they're working, they're fighting with a line. I've actually observed a lot of barbers do this. They're fighting with a line, and they're not getting anywhere with the line, right? And the reason is they're just not going short enough. Go a little higher with the fade. Cut a little shorter if you have to, because the only thing you can do is cut the hair shorter if you're not fixing that problem. Thank you so much, Raul. So, yo, man, I just want to say thank you for all this content and for free. We all appreciate you. I started cutting hair confidently because of you. Man, that's awesome, dude. That's what it's all about right here. I really appreciate the fact that, you know, people are learning, people are actually growing, because, like, when I started this channel, like, my goal was to really try to teach people, really try to provide people something that there wasn't, that at least I wasn't seeing on the internet, you know, at the time. Now there seems to be all types of great content out there. There's a lot of people I follow as well, but I wanted to create like a really good professional place for people to actually learn, where I don't like lure you in with a bunch of nonsense and then promise you all this stuff and then show you nothing. Like, I'm trying to give you guys, you know, everything that I've learned over the past. I'm almost at 20 years. This will be 19 years. I started in 03, and here we are going into 2021. So, you know, maybe my math is bad, but I actually cut hair a little bit before 03, but I started cutting 03 in a shop. So, you know, not to say that makes me any better than anybody else out there. There's barbers that are 2 years in who are just as good as me. And that's actually should be some encouragement to you guys, because you don't need to do this forever to get good at it. It's literally what my nana always used to say: what you put in is what you get out. And that's the absolute truth, and I believe it, and that's what is going to get you by there. So, but anyways, those are the things that I see people wasting the most time. So if you're going over and over an area and the haircut is not coming out, or that line is not coming out, or that issue is not coming clean, we're going to jump down one step. That's all there is to it. You jump down a step and you cut some more hair off. Another thing that I know barbers get really paranoid about bringing the fade too high, but no one wants a fade with issues in it. And if you have to bring it a little higher, therefore it to be more clean, so that it could be more clean, then that's all you have to do is bring it a little higher. It doesn't matter. The client's going to be happy when they walk out and there's no lines and they got a nice smooth cut. So don't be afraid of that. And another thing I want to say is, I have made mistakes with haircuts before. You will make mistakes with haircuts. You will not build your client base. You will not live and die your whole client off of one single client. If you make a mistake and one client decides to leave you, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because there's hundreds, if not thousands, that will sit in your chair to replace that person, and you can continue growing. You learn from your mistakes, you grow, and you keep moving forward. In my experience, many of the people that I made mistakes on still came back to me after the fact. So I really, you know, I would just tell you guys, don't think you need to be perfect. Don't think that you can't make a mistake. You certainly can. Bro, this is a small token for helping myself as an aspiring barber to others to understand cutting hair. Much respect. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much, Jeremiah, and thank you for that. I bought a mannequin and was practicing girl hair for my wife, daughter, and dropped it down to a flat top. You've been telling us not to be scared of it. Send the picture. All right, man, cool. That's what I'm talking about. See, you know, so that's what it's all about here, and it's awesome to hear that people, you know, are growing from them type of things, you know. So getting back to what I was saying, don't be afraid to make a mistake. We will all make mistakes in this. It will not be possible for you to get through this whole thing without making some mistakes. There might be some people who talk some crap. There might be a bad review. There might be an issue in a shop where a client yells at you or something happens, but it doesn't matter. I mean, these people are a grain of sand at the beach compared to what's out there that you can get. Do you think that every single time I made a mistake, I couldn't just give up and just walk away and just say, maybe this ain't for me? I'm telling you what, that's a cop-out. It'd be too easy to do that, it'd be a lot harder to stay in that trench, keep fighting and get good and get great and get to the point where people literally can't even get to your chair and they want to. Like I had people calling all day talking about, oh, you got time today? Can you get me in today? And like, it sucks. I want to get these people in. I want to accommodate them. But at the same time, I have already built that clientele and I do not have time to take these people. And you can get there too. And, you know, I made mistakes just like you did, and you'll get there. So, you know, Roster finally managed to catch a live all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. I started in barber school in January, apprentice as well, in a well-established shop in March, and now he's up and running. And that's, you know, that's the thing. I was talking with somebody, and I've mentioned this on the channel. One of my first days at a shop, I worked at a Supercuts. I did like 20 people that day. None of those were probably great haircuts. I mean, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and say none of those were great haircuts. There might have been a guy I shaved his whole head that worked out all right, but the rest were probably trash. And I'm gonna tell you, it was uncomfortable. It was difficult. I felt out of my comfort zone by a lot, but forcing myself to just stand in there, keep taking those hits, and getting better. By like 3 or 4 weeks of doing 20 a day, I really had opportunities to experiment with everything I ever thought I would try until I got, you know, to the point where, you know, I am today. So, Steve, with the crisscross method or the angle, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the hair to feed into the clipper. So generally what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go against the grain. And like 90% of the time I'm going against the grain so that hair will slide into that clipper properly. And that can be at any angle, because like if a client's hair grows like straight forward, some of them do, even on the sides, then you might see my clipper more on an angle directly counter to that. If the client's hair is straight down, then, you know, anything that you tip is going to work. But the idea is, whenever I am inching into, we'll call like dangerous territory, let's say I'm working into that area that I already did a number 1, and I have this open taper because I just see a little spot, I might take my clipper and angle it not just this way, but also this way. So I'm really just using a corner, just tapping it, just trying to get it off, you know, just trying to get that hair off the head and off the scalp. All right, I'm going to do like two critiques, and then I got a boogie. I really had a good time with this show. I had a feeling that you guys were going to enjoy it. I hope that you got something here somewhere along the lines. I know we covered a lot of ground, but I hope that you got something that can be useful to you, or that when you travel back into your shop, you can give a try to those things. So I'm only going to do like 1 or 2 critiques, and that's it. Please don't send a whole bunch. All right, so this one is Alexis. Let's see here. Alex, sorry. Alex, boom. We're going to drop that one in there. I'm able to make this a little bit higher, a little bit bigger, so I can really dissect this, and I want to read what she wrote. Last week I sent you pictures of the fade I did for my dad. This week I'm showing you pictures I did on myself yesterday. I've been using your blending technique. I find that it works well for me, but I end up taking a lot of time to do it, typically around 3 hours, without counting the beard. My man is sitting in there and hitting it for 3 hours. Okay, one of the reasons why it could be taking you a while to do this haircut is because it's a difficult haircut to do on someone else. And it's only made even more difficult by doing it on yourself with everything in reverse. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate that. Every clipper I have owned came from your advice, and you were never wrong. OSTER Fast Feeds, OSTER Octane, Gamma Evos, 50 Cals, hopefully Alphas next live. Oh, that's what's up, man. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you supporting the channel. But all right, so let's get into what is going on with this haircut. Now, one other thing too, when you're learning how to cut hair and you decide to apply it to yourself, not only are you learning something that's already difficult, you're learning something that's already difficult, but in reverse at the mirror. So you have to keep your expectations lower. And because of that reason, I think this is a pretty damn good haircut. I'd be happy to wear this. All right. So All I really see here is that little bit of weight. Like, it's really where my eyes were drawn to. But there is one other issue that's very hard to see on the screen, especially if you guys are viewing this on a cell phone. Uh, but there's some hair here at the bottom that could be cut closer. If you had the Gamma Prodigies or the Wireless Prodigies, you can cut that closer, and you can go against the grain in that area. It'll make your blend pop a little bit because I could see a couple spots. And if you run your hand on the back of your head, you'll feel them too. Now, the other thing here is your dark spot here probably could have been fixed with a one open, one closed, and maybe a few taps with the half. But, I mean, 3 hours is a long time, so that tells me you're probably either being very, very cautious and you're moving slowly through the blend, or maybe the process that you're using is just not that fast. So I would just say, I think after this class, there's probably a good chance that you're going to speed up, but don't be afraid to cut a little bit shorter. Don't be afraid to move to that next step when you've completely exhausted yourself on that previous step. As long as you know it's good, at the end of the day, you're gonna be getting better. You're gonna be getting quicker. But I would just maybe go to practice on somebody else. Get yourself a chance to learn. Are the Gammas better than the Masters cordless? I think the Gammas have outsold practically every clipper. But actually, Rum Barber just did a best clipper video, and I'd encourage all of you guys to put it out. But the cordless Masters are super, super loud. They do cut well. I'll give you that. But I don't like them. They're as slippery as a bar of soap, and they cut really loud. And when I put my gripper on there, I just couldn't even get the grip. Like, I love the way these are. I put the grip right here in the center, and because these are you can just change these cases. I don't even got to put the bolts back in there because this gripper holds it perfect, and it's awesome. So, at the end of the day, I think I don't think that can compare, at all. Oh, is this Mark Lopez's flat top? Is this the one who was talking earlier? Oh, it is. Let's see it. All right, so I'm not sure if this is his fault, because you could see how the hair gets attached to these, like, really, really wild. But it looks like he cut like a line, but the very top of this, it looks fairly flat. I'll give you that. I'm not sure what's going on with the sides though, and I'm not really able to knock nobody on no mannequin haircut, because you guys know mannequins come they're usually pretty trash the way they attach the hair. They look good when they have long hair on them, but as soon as you begin cutting all that hair off, anything can happen when you get down low. But it looks like he probably could have did a number one or a half or something like that, and he would have been set. Okay, this last one I'm doing, I'm sorry, you guys. I got a jet. I got to go spend some time with the family. This is Nino Goosens. My name is Nino. I'm a student barber from Belgium. For the moment, I only had theory about barbering. I learned everything I know on YouTube and through your Barber Academy. I was hoping you could give me your thoughts on how my fading looks. This is a self-cut. I appreciate the info. And his Instagram is nino.thebarber. Okay. This is a pretty dang good cut. And this is really clean for a self-cut. let me rephrase that. This is a clean cut, period, regardless of the fact that it's a self-cut. The fact that it's a self-cut is even more impressive. I really couldn't even tell you much more that you can improve within your capability. My only critique that I would give you is I would have just told you to cut the top probably a little bit shorter, because I think that if the top was a little shorter, it would have blended in a little better with your sides. And I think that if you try to do some shear over comb on yourself, it's just too difficult to do. But if I was looking at this haircut sitting in my chair, my eyes go just above the parietal ridge to that area where I could see there's a little bit of a mismatch, and I would attempt to blend that in. But on yourself, I would struggle with that as well. And I think this is an excellent haircut. You did an excellent job at the skin area and up in through the other parts of the parietal ridge. Nice haircut, my friend. And you did a great job with that. I really appreciate that. Man, I appreciate that, Carlos. Look at that. We're going to give a double ring to that thing. That's like the biggest donation I've ever had. From Carlos. A Shiba dog in a samurai armor waving a banner saying #1. Thank you so much, Carlos. I do appreciate you. Awesome. Awesome self-cut, man, for Nino. Okay, you guys, I got to get going. Let me know where you guys are all from. And I'm gonna pick somebody from the United States, and I'm gonna give away. I don't know. I'll surprise them. I'm gonna give away something that you can choose. So let me know where you guys are from. I'm picking somebody from the United States. I've given away stuff to multiple other countries for like the last 4 or 5 lives. And I gotta make sure I'm sending this one in the United States. Otherwise, Gamma's gonna want to cut your boy off. We don't want that to happen. You know, we gotta keep the thing flowing. So, you know what, man? I'm gonna go with Uproar. I'm already going. I'm sorry. Uproar has been following this channel for a while. I want to give this man his shot. And he comes from Baltimore, which is a terrible area. And God knows, with them shutting everything down and the things that they're doing, whatever I could do to help will be there. So I'm going to go with Uproar this time. I do appreciate all you guys. I really appreciate everybody. I wish everybody could win every time. Hopefully we make this channel big enough. Maybe I can do more. But Uproar, I want you to shoot over an email to me, my friend. Let me know what your address is, and I'm gonna give you a choice, whatever you want, buddy. Pick something that you want. You can have. I know for a fact that the Unos are out of stock for a while, and I know they're gonna be back in stock in about a month. So if we go with the Unos, you can't get anything. But if you want an electric shaver, if you would rather have a absolute hitter, if you'd rather have an absolute alpha, whatever it is that you need, you let me know. Yeah, Master Prime Time is the email, and let's give a congratulations to Uproar. I know I picked him quick, but what I've been trying to do lately is there's people that I see in this room that are contributing all the time. They're always here. They're always dropping comments. They're always clicking that like button. They're always helping me out. And they haven't got to win a lot. Normally I do it at total random. You got it, buddy. You want some ergos? We'll get you some ergos out to you, man. I'll get that information over to Gamma. And they're the ones who make this all possible. So, you can thank me to some extent, but it's got nothing to do with me. It's all Gamma. And for any of you guys who want to help the channel out in any way, don't feel like you have to donate. If you want just to help the channel out, buy something from Gamma, use my code. You get something cool, I get something cool, and we all win. We all win at the end of the day. All right? So I love you all, man. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys do and all the contributions and everything, man. And there was a lot of donations tonight. That was something really cool, man. That doesn't happen too often. So I hope that I'm leaving you with some good stuff to go try next week as you charge into the shop. And I'm going to try to get you guys an upload by this Thursday. And I think I want to do a video on how to overcome our biggest struggles. So some of the biggest struggles that I've had in learning, and some of the biggest struggles that I can foresee someone going through when they're trying to learn. So that's the hint that I'm going to drop about the video on Thursday. And beyond that, I'll drop on Thursday. And I will see you guys next live on Saturday. On the way out, hit that thumbs up. Help your boy out. This is the YouTube Barber Academy. I am Mr. Eddie Barber. Peace.